things have kind of developed. Some people got in touch with me kindly and actually said what they were interested in hearing about. So, life is laptops, iPads, and phones these days. So that is modern living in itself. But the College of Optometrists says that about 60% of the population have some form of dry eye disease. So, quick show of hands here. Who would say that they have some problem with dry eyes? Okay. So that's most of you. Okay. But of all the people here, you're probably going to describe your symptoms to me in different ways. Some of you are going to say that your eyes are really red and irritable. Some might say that they burn or they sting. Some might say they're really, really itchy. Others might say they actually get far too much water coming from their eyes. Some of you will have a combination of those symptoms. Some of you will have different words to describe what you're going through. Other things that are different when those symptoms are at their worst. For a lot of people, it's in bright light conditions, and there may be some overlap here with visual stress. Others will say that it's on a really windy day, windy conditions. But for a lot of people, it is when we're looking at screens. And this is becoming more and more part of our daily lives. My phone actually told me very nicely that I spent an average of 3.5 hours a day on my phone last week. And sadly, that isn't the worst worst amount of time that I've spent on my phone. So we've got different symptoms. We've got different times that those symptoms bother us. And we've also got a huge array of how much those symptoms bother us. It can be, for some people, the lucky ones. Oh, what's dry eye? Never heard of it. Right through, really bothers me. I'm often miserable. And this has completely taken over my life. I've had clients that are putting drops in when they first come to me every half an hour of the day. And when you're in that sort of situation, you haven't really got a life. Everybody who comes to me wants to know what the causes of dry eye are. And I think that's because if you know what's causing your dry eye, you might be able to fix it. Lots and lots of different causes. Sadly, aging happens to us all. Structures do change within the eyes as we get older. Women in particular are affected by hormonal changes, either through their monthly cycle or when we get menopause or perimenopause. But medical conditions can lead to dry eye, whether that's something like an autoimmune condition like Sjogren's syndrome or lupus, but things like arthritis, which come to all of us, or a general inflammatory condition that can lead to dry eyes. And when we've got medical conditions, we take medications. So it's well known that things like antidepressants, very necessary for some people, but they can lead to dry eye. But so can over-the-counter stuff like your paracetamol and your ibuprofen can actually decrease the base rate that your tears are produced at. And then antihistamines are another thing that regularly do reduce your tears. And of course, allergies themselves can cause dry eye problems, and then you're taking medication. But also diet. Diet is so important. And we know now that what we eat affects our gut microbiome, and that then goes on to affect general inflammatory conditions within the body. Lack of sleep, whether or not you're properly hydrated, too much alcohol, lack of exercise, all things that we just do as part of modern living, but actually can affect our eyes. Whether you wear contact lenses, and eyelid hygiene. Who talks to us about keeping our eyes actually hygienically clean? We all know about cleaning our teeth. We clean off the microbiome that builds up in our mouth. We know it's plaque, at least once a day, hopefully twice, but nobody teaches us about eyelid hygiene. And if you wear false lashes or lash extensions, makes the situation even worse because you can't get to the base of the lashes to actually clean everything off. And the biggest cause, we're back to screen use again. And I'll go into why that helps cause dry eye disease in a little while. All those things I've talked about inflammation. Dry eye disease is an inflammatory condition, and we can get onto an inflammatory merry-go-round, if you will. Not so much fun as having fun at the fair. Wherever you get onto the cycle, it might be that you've got low production of watery tears because you've got Sjögren's syndrome, or you're taking medication that's going to reduce the production of those tears. It might be that you wear contact lenses and you've interrupted the normal tear flow. But wherever you get on, it's very hard to get off. And everything we do at Soothe Ocular Spa is actually designed to try and break that cycle. Because if the inflammation is reduced, you are going to actually feel a lot more comfortable and your symptoms should reduce too. So, tear film, really, really important. What does it do? Provides oxygen and nutrients to the surface of the eye. Actually helps wash out things like pollen, eyelashes, that foreign bodies that we get in the eye that aren't supposed to be there. Provides a barrier to bacteria so that we don't get infections. Lubricates, helps keep us comfortable. And what most people don't realise is it actually forms the first part of the focusing system of the eye. So if you've not got a proper tear film, you can see that you might not be able to see properly intermittently. You're probably going to be pretty uncomfortable. You might be getting more infections, whether that's around the eyes in styes or whether it's actual eye infections themselves. And you get that gritty, burny, horrible feeling because you've not got the tear film there. So this is a bit of a diagram in detail. You may not be able to see this, but the tears are actually made in 3 different places. We get a sticky mucousy layer that's made on the surface of the eye itself. That's this bit here. We've got watery tears that are made in our lacrimal gland, and those are tears that we think of when we tear. So if you cry at a soppy movie, or if you cut an onion and you start streaming with tears, or somebody pokes you in the eye. But this lipid layer here is actually made in glands in our eyelids, and they are absolutely key because every time we blink, our eyes come together, and if this oil that these glands make is the right consistency, it actually gets pumped out. And when we then open our eyes, that oil gets spread over the surface of the eye. And the purpose of that layer is to stop the other 2 layers from evaporating. So it's absolutely key that we look after those glands. 86% of people who have dry eye disease have a problem with their meibomian glands. So even if you've got a condition where this layer is reduced, it's really key that we maximise that lipid layer in order to keep your eyes comfortable. So should we have a little look at some meibomian glands? It might be a bit difficult. We could possibly show you this later on, if a bit closer. Yes, look away, sorry, if you're a bit squeamish. On the left here, we've got some good meibomian glands. And I don't know if you can see this, but we've got some nice white lines that are going from the top to the bottom of that lid that's been flipped. They're nicely evenly spaced. And they've got a nice white colour to them, and that's what the meibum, the oil, looks like when we image it. These glands here are not quite so happy. They're very wiggly, so it's going to be very difficult for those eyelids to pump out that oil when we blink. And this lower lid here, there's a big area there where the glands have actually died off, so they're not producing any oil whatsoever. This person is going to feel quite uncomfortable. So what can you do about this yourself? The first thing is to talk to us about a good at-home routine. There's a link there, QR code, if you want to have a photograph of that will take you to a page on our blog that has got a very basic but good hygiene routine that you can use at home. If you've got real problems, you probably need something a little bit more complicated, a bit more in depth, but that's a really good place to start. That link isn't, but that's why I put it on the screen. But if you want me to, I can make sure that you get it. Yeah, so you might need something big, but that's a good place to start. But it's called a routine for a reason. You can't do this just once and done. You have to do this every single day. You've got to be prepared to put the work in. And you're going to have good days and you're going to have bad days. But so long as the line is moving in the right direction, you're on the right path. You can investigate lifestyle and dietary changes to actually reduce that inflammation and make yourself a little bit more comfortable. Again, talk to Jonathan or myself afterwards. We can give you some more practical tips. I've just put a few on here that might be useful. Conscious blink breaks. When we're on a computer, we don't actually blink as often as we should. And that's why screen use is contributing massively to dry eye problems. So if you build into your day breaks where you take time to literally squeeze your eyes shut and do that 3 or 4 times every hour if necessary, you can eventually start to feel the moisture starting to flood when you do that without needing to resort to your drops. Stress relief practice. Mindfulness, meditation, yoga, even as little as 10 minutes a day have been shown to reduce the severity of dry eye symptoms. Sleep masks. I did speak to somebody who said that their eyes were really, really dry when they wake. Well, absolutely, but absolutely try it. It doesn't help everybody, but it might. Absolutely. But it's a practical tip that might help somebody. It is a common problem. Yeah, yeah. But there are different types of sleep mask that you can get. Some people even wrap an ordinary mask in cling film, believe it or not, and then try that. So lots of things, but come and have a chat with us if you want some more practical tips. And again, you've got to be prepared to do the work. You can't do this once and done. If you've tried everything like that and it really hasn't made any difference to you whatsoever, consider more intensive therapies. Something as simple as a zest treatment, if you've got that real build-up along the base of your lashes and along your lash line, can help clean all that off and immediately reduce inflammation and make you feel more comfortable. Intense regulated pulsed light is a therapy that we can use in practice. This targets the nerves that supply those meibomian glands, gives them a really kick start of energy, and helps the glands to work better.
Why have you got sunglasses on?
Because it's intense. The clue is in the name. It's intense regulated pulse light. It's the brightest light. The person who's having it done, you can't actually see on there, but has shields on over their eyelids as well, so that and you keep your eyes shut behind it. So I get it placed, my goggles are on, and then we count down, so I know that you've got your eyes shut for that flash. And it's 10 flashes per eye. It is literally just a flash, but you don't want to be looking at it when it goes off. Completely painless, but you don't want to be looking at it. Low-level light therapy is another thing that we can use to treat those meibomian glands. This actually works on the glands directly, provides a lot of energy to the cells, helps them to work better, but also reduces inflammation, changes the consistency of that meibum and helps it flow a little bit better, and sorts out bacteria around the eyes. So again, if you've got styes or ocular rosacea, which I haven't mentioned, but we can go into if you come and talk to me, helps with all of that. After one of the light-based therapies, we like to use the Activa heat and massage mask because that actually helps express all that stagnant, yucky meibum that's been stuck in there for a little while, gets it flowing again. And actually, going back to that, I've got only two because of the length of time it takes, slots available. So if somebody wants to experience an Activa, please come and speak to me afterwards and we'll try and get you up there and have a little go. You still have to do the work. There is no magic wand with dry eye disease, but in combination, we can make people feel a lot more comfortable. But we're here to encourage you and cheer you on. You're not left on your own. One thing that a lot of people say is they get given a routine and then they're told to go away and they don't really know what they're doing with it. They don't know how often they should be doing it. We're here to help you with all of that. So thank you for listening. Not everybody's going to want to ask questions here and now. So if you wanted to email me, then feel free to do so. Drop me a text or a WhatsApp, preferably on that number, and then we can arrange a chat on the phone.